Hello and welcome. We're representatives from Back to Your Roots Herbs.
It's great to be here.
Today we're exploring a plant with, well, probably the most unforgettable name out there, Epimedium sagittatum.
Ah, yes, horny goatweed.
Exactly. We want to walk you through its story, the history, traditional views, what science is saying now, and some really key things to consider if you're thinking about using it.
Definitely. We want you to have a good understanding based on, what's known about this plant.
That name, though, it obviously grabs your attention.
It does, and it comes straight from Chinese folklore. Apparently, a goat herd noticed his flock got unusually active after eating this specific plant.
Makes sense. And that led to the traditional Chinese name, Yin Yang Hu.
Which basically means something like licentious goat plant.
But here's a twist, right? Because its history isn't quite so simple. While it had that reputation in the East,
In Western herbal traditions, sometimes it was called barrenwort.
yeah, barrenwort, which sounds like the complete opposite, maybe even suggesting it reduced fertility or something. It's quite a contrast.
It is quite curious. So how could one plant get viewed so differently? That's part of what makes it interesting.
Let's start with the traditional Chinese perspective then. Yin Yang Huo. It's seen as a yang tonic.
Correct. A strong yang tonifying herb. Now, yang in TCM is complex. It doesn't map perfectly to Western ideas, but think of it relating to core vitality, the body's sort of energetic fire.
Okay.
And it's strongly linked to the kidney system in their framework, which covers things like vitality, sexual function, willpower, even bone health.
So traditionally you'd see it used for boosting energy, maybe for low libido.
Exactly. Low libido, supporting potency, but also strengthening bones and sinews. It's about reinforcing that fundamental life energy.
And now science is starting to provide some mechanisms that seem to fit.
Yeah, quite neatly in some cases.
Yeah.
They pinpointed a key active compound called icariin.
Icariin, and that's the flavonoid.
It is one of those beneficial plant compounds. And the research on icariin is pretty interesting because they found it acts as a PDE5 inhibitor.
Wait, PDE5, isn't that the same way some well-known ED medications work?
That's right. It's the same target. It helps relax smooth muscle, which improves blood flow. So you can see how that connects back to the energetic goat stories.
Definitely draws a line from folklore to pharmacology there. But it's not only about libido, is it? You mentioned bone health earlier.
Correct. That's another big area of research. Studies, some involving postmenopausal women, suggest epimedium flavonoids, including icariin, might help reduce bone loss.
How does that work?
Well, it seems to tie back to that traditional idea of strengthening bones and sinews. The research suggests it might positively influence the cells responsible for building bone.
So potential benefits beyond the famous nickname.
For sure. And it highlights that this is a chemically complex plant. It's not just icariin. There are many other compounds involved.
And different parts of the plant matter too, right?
Yes, the traditional practice usually uses the aerial parts, the leaves and stems. And modern analysis confirms that's where these key flavonoids are most concentrated, not so much in the roots. It sort of validates the traditional preparation methods.
Okay, so with all this potential, we also need to talk about safety and considerations. It's potent.
Absolutely essential. Generally, it seems well tolerated for short-term use, but higher doses or using it for a long time might lead to side effects, things like dizziness, maybe dry mouth.
Anything more serious?
More rarely, there have been reports of things like rapid heartbeat or potential effects on thyroid function with very high intake or prolonged use. So moderation is key.
And there are definite situations where it should probably be avoided. Contraindications.
Yes, absolutely. Standard advice is to avoid it during pregnancy and breastfeeding. Also, if you have conditions like hormone-sensitive cancers, bleeding disorders, or certain heart issues, it's generally not recommended
Why is that?
because of its potential effects on hormones, blood clotting, and possibly blood pressure.
Which logically leads to interactions with medications.
Exactly. If you're on medication for high blood pressure or blood thinners, there could be interactions. And it might affect how your liver processes certain drugs too, via CYP enzymes.
So potentially interacting with quite a few things.
Yes, and notably, there could be complex interactions if someone is also taking prescription PDE5 inhibitors like sildenafil. Combining them might alter effects or increase side effect risks. Really, if you're on any medication, this is something to discuss with your healthcare provider.
Okay, so let's sort of pull this together. Epimedium sagittatum, horny goatweed. It has this deep history, a very memorable name linked to ancient observation.
Hmm.
And modern science is now uncovering some fascinating mechanisms, particularly with Icarin, that align with traditional uses for vitality and, interestingly, bone health.
Right. But it's also a powerful herb with a complex chemistry. So understanding potential side effects, who shouldn't use it, and especially those drug interactions, is just critical for using it safely.
It really shows that journey from, folklore and traditional wisdom through contrasting historical views like Barrenwort, all the way to modern chemical analysis.
It does. It reminds you that understanding these botanicals often requires looking at both their history and the latest science. They both offer valuable perspectives.
To learn more, please visit us at www.backtoyourrootsherbs.com.
The direct link for horny goat weed is in the description below.